you have what it takes to be awarded as the best in the business? Here is your chance to apply. Head on over to our website, download the form and apply. If you face any troubles when applying or feel the need to get in touch with us directly, email us, call us, tweet at me directly at Sunanda_J or join our Facebook group.
Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, ETNA's special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. This is the only daily MSME platform in the country, a show where you can voice your concerns and get answers to all your queries directly from our team of experts. We understand the issues that you, the MSME entrepreneur, face, and this show aims to bring you the most relevant and updated information on everything related to your businesses. On the show today, a chat with SiteCare on our Insights segment. On Bright Sparks, we are featuring Bewakoof and Karya. Now, India has the twin challenge of the lack of quality healthcare as well as the lack of healthcare which is accessible to all. Technology then can definitely go a long way towards ensuring that the poorest of the poor get the best possible healthcare here in India, and one hospital chain doing just that is Bengaluru-based SiteCare, which is using both IoT as well as big data in cancer care. I spoke with the management about the opportunities for the use of technology in healthcare. Listen in. It's a pleasure having you here on the Leaders of Tomorrow. Let's start by talking about the role of technology, and particularly the role of technology in healthcare, a business that you're associated with.
I think the technology usage in India is definitely on a rise. It's on an exponential rise. But what we are yet to see is, I think, the integrated use of technology across everything in the hospital and on the healthcare environment. Mobility is a big driver of that change. The fact that now data and internet access is available to a very large portion of the Indian consumer section, I think will bring information, healthcare information at the fingertips. So the challenge from a healthcare provider perspective is really to create access to that information, access to electronic medical records, access to information about what I can expect within the healthcare provider framework in terms of infrastructure, medical equipment, services, doctors, timings. People expect that in every other industry, and I think the healthcare industry will be no different. So we are beginning to see the emergence of a lot of these solutions that we have seen in retail, in banking, to be deployed now in healthcare very actively. This requires a rethink, a fundamental rethink at various levels, including infrastructure.
It's no surprise, of course, that there are several challenges associated with the use of technology as far as healthcare in India is concerned. What do you think is the solution? Do you think that a relevant policy or a regulatory framework can go a long way towards resolving that?
We have a large number of issues, actually. If you look at the healthcare spending and government spending on healthcare, it's a very small fraction. We have 1.5% of GDP, and estimates are that it should be at least doubled of that. We are improving that healthcare spend, so we are in the right direction. Healthcare policy is improving. We're definitely seeing a lot more coverage for a larger portion of the society. So we are seeing much positive improvement over the last few years, but a lot more to be done in that space. On the technology side, we clearly need to embrace new technology and incentivize that. So, for example, a lot of the equipment that is currently being manufactured outside of India should be manufactured in India, and we should encourage that. So the Make in India campaign needs to be really taken further, but not to create what I would call second-in-class healthcare equipment, but first-in-class healthcare equipment. So a lot of work can be done on the policy side to enable that as well.
Your advice then to our viewers in terms of overcoming such challenges, whether they're in the healthcare space or not?
I think Indian entrepreneurs have been very, very creative in terms of looking at the opportunity space. And I think the startup environment in India, and particularly where I come from in Bangalore, is really buzzing with a lot of energy. We are beginning to see the investor backing and capital to support these ideas as well. There's an ecosystem that really supports this as well. From a policy perspective, I think there is a need. The government has a demand that they want to fulfill, so they are very supportive of private healthcare, I think. There is a need from understanding that we don't have a single window clearance for various approvals that a hospital, for example, would require. So any new organization needs to be prepared, needs to understand the challenges, needs to have a team that is capable of handling these various clearances that are required. And it's getting faster. A lot of these things that we have seen in the last 1.5 years have now gone online, for example, for various regulatory approvals. So things are definitely improving positively. But one has to prepare for that, one has to plan for that, allocate time for that. I think that one has to now not replicate what exists already, but think for the next 5-10 years. For example, we have our entire hospital which is Wi-Fi enabled. Nurses will be able to capture data at source, at the bedside, using tablets. And it's not expensive because the cost of these devices has gone down. But you need to plan for the infrastructure upfront. So businesses, I think, need to think about what's in store for the next 5-10 years and prepare that infrastructure readiness today.
Let's talk about the changes that the healthcare industry has seen over the last couple of years and maybe even the past decade. There have been several changes, of course. So what, according to you, has been the #1 disruptor, though?
If you look at the last 10 to 15 years, we've seen what I call private hospitals version 1.0, right? So the healthcare industry really has improved. We've seen much better customer response time. We've got much better medical equipment that is available today. Access for customers in cities, tier 2, tier 3, access is improving. We are seeing, therefore, a lot of improved number of people getting into the system, into the healthcare system. Coverage has improved, etc. But insurance still lags behind. They're at less than 10%. So I'm seeing a big push in terms of insurance. People will take a lot more insurance, medical cover. Private medical insurance will grow dramatically. And that will be a huge push in terms of healthcare access. On the technology side, mobility, as I mentioned earlier, is a big driver of change. People expect information today, and they will have it on their fingertips, on their mobile phones. And I think the fact that people have that in every other industry will set the tone for what is expected in healthcare. People will expect healthcare providers to provide their medical records electronically, online to them. Expect that appointments can be done online, easily, on apps, real time. So the expectation from a customer perspective and the fact that data is going to be easily available and exchange of information is going to be easily available, I think that is going to drive the customer centricity, the patient centricity that healthcare providers and hospitals will have to deliver to.
We were just talking about how a lot of our viewers tell us that they find it very difficult to raise funding. So if I were to ask you to list the top 3 do's and the top 3 don'ts when it comes to the fundraising process, as someone who's been through that process, what would your advice be?
I think first thing, have a solid plan, not because the investor is asking for it, but because you want to know what your business really is all about. The business plan should be solid from a revenue and from a profitability perspective. I think a lot of the businesses struggle because they're only looking at it from a valuation perspective. And I think investors are definitely looking at profitability now in this current environment more so than maybe even a year and a half ago. So clearly, having a very solid business plan looking at revenues and profits is, I think, critical. Identifying your cash flow, which is as important as a P&L, I think is very critical again. Businesses survive because of cash, and they need to, you need to have it in the plan to say what is your cash flow looking like quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and when do you really need that cash coming in from the investors or via debt. Being over leveraged is a problem in some of the businesses, and for example, we have taken a largely an equity route, which is unconventional in the healthcare industry, but very stable. We know the investors, we know where the capital is, we are not dependent on debt, we don't have to pay out the interest. We get a much longer lifeline, so to speak. And I think that is important in terms of a decision, that how much leverage the business can take and should take. I think the big part of why somebody would want to invest is really understanding whether you've got the right team in place, apart from the great idea that you have. So a lot of people have great ideas, but they are not able to deliver. So an investor is looking at the fact that here is a great idea, and here is a great team, and here is the right time to implement that great idea and with a great team. So when all of these 3 things come together, I think there is a lot of capital available out there even today. I don't think there is paucity of capital. The issue is one of these components sometimes is not in place, and it's important to get that right.
As I end this conversation, what are the next few years looking like for you at Sidecare?
We're excited. I think it's exciting times. We are going live with our cancer hospital. We are setting up a few sub-centers. We intend to set up 4 to 5 major hospitals in the country over the next 5 to 6 years. So it's a lot of exciting times and a lot of hard work, but looking forward to it. We have a great team on board already and great investors who are willing to invest more. So exciting times.
Let's take a quick break. On that note, when we come back, we'll feature 2 companies on our Bright Spark segment tonight, Bewakoof and Karya. Welcome back. You're with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we're featuring Bewakoof and Karya on our Bright Spark segment. Casual t-shirts, trendy pajamas, cool hoodies. Who can deny the comfort of casual clothing? On Bright Sparks tonight, we're bringing you a millennial fashion brand, Bewakoof. This was a project that was started in college by its founders and has become now the country's go-to casual apparel wear brand. Palumi Mukhopadhyay has the story.
Joggers, boxers, pajamas, hoodies, shorts and tees. One word that defines them all is comfort. And when it comes to comfort, coolness and casual clothing, press enter for bewakoof.com. Started in 2012, this online-only fashion and lifestyle brand created the product line of unique and fun products which mirrors the millennials of this country. Driven by design and manufactured with meticulous techniques, Bewakoof aims to revolutionize the market in India by directly selling to the customers by eradicating the middlemen. Their product range currently offers clothing for men and women and very soon promises to launch an exclusive range of kids wear.
Why did you name your company Bewakoof? There must have been a funny story behind it.
So there are a couple of stories that went parallelly behind it, right? So for the first story is that we happen to own the domain name Bewakoof. So my co-founder Siddharth, so he used to run this online fun sharing platform by the name of bewakoof.com, and it happened that a couple of years after that, we were starting a fashion brand, and at that point of time we were brainstorming over names, and because we owned this domain name, so we thought it would be a good move. Now the second story that was in parallel was that so at that point of time when we were starting Bewakoof, we were still in college, and we chose not to take up jobs, and we wanted to start Bewakoof. Like for us, Bewakoof is more about following your heart, doing more heart-driven things, following your emotion, following your intuition. That's what we did at that point of time, and over the years it has paid us well.
So Bewakoof is an online-only brand, and when it comes to products like apparel, you need different factors like touch and feel, fit for buying decisions. So what are the kind of challenges that you're facing?
So here I would like to classify the challenges into 2, as you mentioned. So one is the touch and feel, and the second one is the fit, right? So in touch and feel, I believe that the internet economy takes care of that. So let's say if you have a very good product out there, so then people are bound to give you good reviews, right? And the generation that I talk about, so they're very smart. They'll always go out, read reviews on different websites. They will do the research on it, right? So what we did was that we tied up with a lot of brands. We tied up with a lot of movies, we have worked with many movie production houses, right? So then when celebrities wore a t-shirt, so that lends a lot of credibility to your brand, and it makes the buying decision easier for the consumer. Fit part, now that's definitely a challenge when people are buying online, right? But Bewakoof happens to be a single brand retail, right? So then in that case, when you're buying for the first time, it's definitely a bit challenging to get your size right. But after first purchase, when you get your size right, now you're sorted for the rest of your life.
Now let's talk about GST. Do you think when it comes to online players like bewakoof.com, GST is affecting you in any way?
It's very good for the e-commerce industry because currently what has happened in the recent time is that many states have applied or introduced some entry tax, right? So that not only adds an overhead cost for the company, but it also affects the customer service because most of the times the goods get stuck in paying for these taxes, right? So then that will become smoother. That is one part. Second part, I feel that it's very relevant for the single brand retail players that are selling online. But right now, we are not getting the tax benefit when it comes to SENVIT credits for service tax. So our company has to pay many service tax on our back end, but on the front end, we are not getting any set off for it. So I believe that GST is the right kind of model for such kind of industries.
This free-spirited brand believes in tapping the youth and thus created branded merchandise for major Bollywood and Hollywood brands from Yash Raj Films and Balaji Motion Pictures to Marvel and DC Comics.
So we have a team of 8 people, and all of them, when it comes to thinking of new concepts or creating new ideas for our t-shirts or our products, the only brief which we give them is basically looking around what people are doing, what they're liking, what they're not liking, what activities they do, what they don't, which helps them in creating ideas which can be more connecting and more personal to the customers. So when they come to the website and they try to buy stuff, it is very interesting for them and it is fun for them because what they are reading or what they are observing on the website, it is very personal.
With a business model that makes high street fashion economical and focuses on original design and innovation, Bewakoof is all set to create a revolution and give the international fashion apparel brands a run for their money.
Tonight, we're also bringing you the inspiring story of a woman entrepreneur who has established her brand after pitching her idea to 113 investors. Libza Manan caught up with the woman behind Delhi-based formal wear brand Karya to know more about the brand's innovative strategies to uphold its niche in the retail sector. Take a look.
Gurugram-based apparel brand Karya was launched in 2013 with an aim to provide a wardrobe solution for everyday Western wear and is today cladding India's hardworking women in comfortable and smart apparels. 113 pitches to investors in a year. I'm really intrigued. So Nidhi, tell us more about your entrepreneurial journey and how has it been like?
So I'm hugely thankful actually when I look back because there's no two ways around it. It has been really tough, as is any entrepreneur's journey. But I think I'm hugely thankful and grateful for the fact that I've got two groups of people. One I call my quarterbacks and the others that I call my gladiators. Quarterbacks, my advisors who've really stuck it through with me, help me see things for what they are even before they come and hit me actually. And my gladiators, my team who actually goes and gets for me. So when the times get really tough, these tough guys get going.
Absolutely. So apart from the funding challenges, were there any other challenges that you had to overcome?
It's interesting that you asked that question because honestly, I think there are two levels to the environment. One environment which doesn't care about gender. I'm hugely respectful of that, of course, because I'm here as a businesswoman, business person first and then perhaps as a woman. I don't think my gender has anything to do with what we are able to achieve or not. They understand that and I respect that. The second part of the environment is an environment which I believe has not been exposed to, let's say, women who have taken positions of decision making. So I don't blame them, but I think they have a way to come. It's a process of evolution. It'll take whatever time it takes them.
So why the name Karya, and most importantly, what does it mean?
I'm glad you asked that question. Karya comes from the word karya, which means work. We are aiming at the woman who has a lot of work. She needn't be a working woman only. So we believe that a lot of homemakers have a lot of work and don't have the time to trade off fashion for comfort, but need to be both. So we actually aim at providing her best solution with her best fit too.
Interesting. So with the boom in e-commerce space, there are online fashion brands with a similar product range and clientele as that of Karya. What makes your brand unique?
For us, the customer is front and center. So continuing to understand what her unmet need is and genuinely developing product, getting it to her before anybody else can, will remain critical to our success.
With a sole focus on offering the perfect fit, Karya boasts of being a one-of-a-kind formal wear label that offers fashionable western wear in 18 different sizes. So the brand has backing of industry stalwarts like Ratan Tata. So talk to us more about the brand's fundraisings and how do you plan to utilize those funds?
There are two things that are front and center as far as any spending is concerned. One is brand building itself, so marketing communications, channel development. And the second part of it is we are genuinely a technology enabled analytics company, right? That's how we establish ourselves as a true brand. And so from that point of view, investing in technology, ensuring that we remain disruptive on our processing, manufacturing end will be critical.
Absolutely. So when we talk about formal wear, it's more of urban lifestyle that comes to our minds. So would you say that Karya is catering more to metros, and how strong is Karya's presence in tier 2 and tier 3 cities?
We actively sell to tier 2, tier 3 markets, surprisingly, because at the end of the day, are we saying that women in tier 2, tier 3 cities do not want to wear trousers? I don't think that's the case. Are we saying that they're not amenable to tops? That's not true. Are we saying they're not amenable to shirts or shirt dresses? That's not true either. So about 45% of our total sales anecdotally comes from tier 2, tier 3 cities.
My last question, going ahead, what sort of diversification can the ambitious Indian women expect from Karya, and can men expect to shop from Karya soon?
No, we're a women's wear brand. We are focused on her wallet. We want more from her wallet. We'll continue to go that route. Let's see. Aim is to really become one of the largest brands. That vision has been very clear from day one. Not losing sight of the fact that we're actually here to solve a particular problem for the customer, and therefore product remains front and center. It's not just about sales for us.
With a strong in-house designing and tailoring team, Karya is dedicated to a clientele who not only toils for long hours in office, but also those who are striving hard every day to make their mark in the society.
Today I brought you tips on how you can use technology in the field of healthcare here in India. And if you have a company that wants to be featured on the Leaders of Tomorrow, or any query about any aspect of your business, do write in to us at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. You can personally tweet at me at Sunanda_J. You can reach us on social media using the hashtag LOT, or call us on that number you see flashing on your screen. We promise to have all your queries answered. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
If you feel you have what it takes to be awarded as the best in the business, here is your chance to apply. Head on over to our website, download the form and apply. If you face any troubles when applying or feel the need to get in touch with us directly, email us, call us, tweet at me directly at Sunanda_J, or join our Facebook group.